So what if I told you guys that I've never watched a Marvel movie? You'd probably be like, what the fuck? Which is what all my friends have said. But it's not even an in my defense thing. I just did it because I wanted to be different, you know? I'm not like other girls. When I was in middle school, I couldn't like Justin Bieber because everybody was obsessed with Justin Bieber. In 2016, I couldn't have a Hamilton phase because all my friends had a Hamilton phase and I didn't want to be like them, you know? I had to be my own person. I had to be an individual. But recently I've turned 25, which means my frontal lobe has been fully developed, which has made me realize that just because you dislike something that's popular doesn't actually make you cooler. It just means you're missing out on something that you might actually enjoy.
And that's therapy, baby.
When I think about what a Marvel adult would be, it's not a really common thing. You know, you hear Disney adult, but you never hear a Marvel adult. But when I think Marvel adult, I think adult who never grew out of a Hot Topic phase, or adult who still goes in the back of Zoomies and laughs at the squishy boobs. Like, that's what I get. And it might not be accurate, but to me, that's what it feels like. However, maybe I do like to go in Zoomies and squish some boobies, okay? Anyways, I'm gonna watch all of the Marvel movies. I feel like the great debate has been, do you watch them in chronological order or do you watch them in release order? I've decided to go with release order. That's what I've seen on Reddit. I think chronological order is better for fans of the actual series because I know what's gonna happen, so like they can like see the foreshadowing, whatever. My knowledge of Marvel going into this is very slim, okay? I know that there's 3 Spider-Men and it's Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, okay? I know that Tom Holland and Zendaya, is that what they met? They met on set, they fell in love on set, whatever. Theater kid activities. Ooh, you're doing a show with someone, you have to fall in love with them. Or in this case, a movie. I know that Andrew Garfield got 2 movies instead of 3, or he just got like 1 less than everybody else. Not really sure why. Maybe they sucked. I love you, Andrew Garfield, though. Keep slaying, girl. I know that people were upset about Endgame, and I don't know if it's because it was a bad movie, they hated the ending, I don't know what it was, but I was in school when Endgame came out, or like I was in an acting class, and my entire class went to the movie theater to go and see Endgame, and I was like, oh, I've like never watched a Marvel movie, so I'm not gonna go. And I remember for the next week, everybody was like, I had to avoid Twitter for like months so I didn't get any spoilers, because I was like, what if I want to watch it one day? I was the same way with Game of Thrones. I didn't watch Game of Thrones till like late 2022, early 2023, like, and I managed to not get any spoilers even when everybody was pissed about the ending, which that one, rightfully so. I know that Florence Pugh is in the MCU because she is the love of my life, and my boyfriend spoiled to me that they end up on a team. I'm like, is it like a co-ed softball team? Like I know that if I was playing third base and Iron Man got up to the plate, I would be terrified for a ball to be drilled through my throat. Anyways, speaking of Iron Man, that's the first movie. Came out in 2008. That's all I got. So let's crack into it. So the movie begins in what looks like California, right? You have like the snow in the background, you have the sand on the ground, business in the front, party in the back type beat. We figure out that they're on an army base pretty clearly when we see some, you know, trucks go by. And we're in a car with 4 people. 3 of them, army men. 1 woman. And one of them is a gentleman in a nice suit swirling some scotch. He's funny. He's witty. He's like Donald Trump if he had a lick of charm. Which I was kind of surprised he didn't make a cameo because I don't think Donald Trump was cosplaying politician at the time. I think he was like an actor, a reality star. I don't really know the lore of that man, nor do I care. But the girls are kikiing, they're chatting, they're taking selfies with this famous man who I figured out was named Tony Stark due to a spoiler from my boyfriend. Suddenly, we hear bing, boom, bop, bada, bop, bop. One soldier gets out. Boom, he's dead. Another soldier gets out. Boom, she's dead. The third guy goes to get out, and Tony's like, dude, no, like, we were taking selfies 2 minutes ago. Like, don't leave me alone. But of course, he gets out. Boom, he's dead. Tony then decides to run behind a rock. Not really sure what the logic was, but he believed he could, so he did. And I don't know what kind of phone Tony Stark has, but that has been a dream phone of mine since I was a child. If iPhone came out with a phone that was like, hey, we're actually gonna have you twist the touchscreen top and have this keyboard at the bottom, I would absolutely buy it. He probably had Brick Breaker on there too, Tetris. It was a good time. I know he was loving that phone. Then we have a classic movie rewind moment where we see that Tony Stark is winning some sort of award, and this man, James, is presenting it to him. We see photos of Tony as a child that are horribly photoshopped. We learn about his accomplishments. He graduated at 17 from MIT at the top of his class. We get to see a picture of him on the Rolling Stones cover with doing a really interesting pose. It was something going on. It was really traumatizing to look at. And not to add a personal flex, but I did graduate college at 18 with a 2-year certificate in musical theater, so it's like basically the same thing. Like, okay, Tony, you're not the shit. Guys. Tony is not in the audience to accept his award. Really, He's back at the casino with some bad bitches rolling the dice, throwing them down, trying to win some money, which clearly he doesn't need any money. He's a very pompous, rich asshole. So this man who works with Tony, his name is Obadiah, but we're gonna call him the bald man because I hate bald men. But the bald dude goes up, accepts the reward on his behalf, whatever. It seems like shit like this happens all the time. The guy who presented his award goes and finds Tony in the casino, and he's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you missed out on this thing. And Tony's like, dude, kiss my dice, blow my dice, I need good luck, whatever. James gets him away from the poker table up to his hotel room, probably to breastfeed him or something. On the way, Tony gives his award to this random dude. Just clearly, he does not give a fuck. Tony ends up getting in a limo to go back home, and he gets stopped by this reporter. He's not really listening, but I think that someone's like, hey, she's the pretty girl, and he's like,
Hi.
and at first she asks him a nice question, and then she's like, how do you feel just being the biggest killer in the world? Tony, being a sarcastic asshole, was like, oh yeah, whatever. She spews some humanitarian issues at him, very valid, very correct, very liberal agenda. But as they're having this intense, like, wit off, moral off, I screamed at the TV, kiss, 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 and then cut to them kiss, kiss, kissing, oh boy. Parents, cover your children's eyes. So Miss Girl wakes up the next day, and she is in this mansion, high tech. She slept over after banging him. I mean, I would too. It's got to be like 1,000 count sheets on that bed. And we learn very quickly that the 2008 recession did not affect Tony Stark. Out comes Gwyneth Paltrow, aka Pepper Potts. Now, what kind of mother would name her child Pepper Potts? I am so anti-alliteration name. You're just asking for your child to be bullied. You're asking for your child to not have a good time in middle school. However, I digress. Gwyneth Paltrow, I love your work in Glee. They have their little feminine rage off. I'm waiting for them to kiss. Doesn't happen. So Miss Girl leaves, and Pepper goes downstairs to see Tony working on something. Of course, he's late. He needs to catch a flight. And then Pepper's like, hey, dude, we gotta go. And Tony's like, well, the cool thing about having a plane in your own name is that you get to choose when it takes off. You can't be late for your own flight. And you know what? He kind of ate with that one. But we get to the plane. James is up there, of course. He's pissed off at Tony. He's like, you don't respect my time. You don't respect me as a person. It's fine. I don't care. Tony's like, hey, flight attendant, let's get some drink. And James is like, dude, I don't want to drink. And then Tony's like, yeah, but like, drinks for us too. And then James is like, no. Cut to a full fucking strip club moment on this plane. Flight attendants got their shirt tied up. There's a pole. James is still complaining to Tony, but he is obviously not listening. He is just like, girl, woman, boob, puss. Because apparently that's just, I was going to say that's how rich people are, but that's just, maybe that's how men are. Thoughts? Now we know that Tony is not in California. He is in Afghanistan, and he is selling missiles to the U.S. Army. Again, it's 2008. Presumably it's the Iraq War. I don't know if that's accurate, but you know, time period wise, after he does this little buy my boom boom pitch, he grabs his glass of scotch and he gets in a car, and we are caught up to where the movie started. Once Tony is hit by his own boom boom, we see flashes of surgery, right? And we see that Tony has been kidnapped. Once Tony wakes up, he sees there's this thing in his chest. He's like, what the fuck is going on? And then homie Yinsen's over there like, hey brother, I'm here with you too. That thing is saving your life. I don't know, it's this battery energy source. Don't quote me on that, all right? There's gonna be some things in this video that are not accurate, so just, you know, bear with me. And then this army, who we find out are called the Ten Rings, basically say, hey Tony, if you build us those missiles, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna give you your life and you'll be on your merry way. Keep in mind, they don't speak the same language, right? Yinsen is the translator, so the Ten Rings don't understand English, and Tony doesn't understand Arabic. So he shakes his hand as a deal, and Tony's like, I am not getting out of here. And Yinsen's like, nope. No, you're not. But Mama's a mastermind. Tony's like, I'm not gonna fucking die in this hellhole. So what does he do? He draws out sketches for the missiles, right? But if you turn them and place them in a certain way, he's crafted a suit to get them out. Perhaps an iron suit? Perhaps a man made of iron? Dun dun dun. Actually, I guess it's not iron. It's like titanium. But that's like not the point, okay? He's making a suit. He's like, dude, we're getting the fuck out of here. There's one little dead spot where nobody can see them, which is where they work on like how to move the robot arm, how to move the robot leg. The Ten Rings, they come in and check on the boys all the time, but like once they do, the boys are like, oh, we're just, you know, building a missile. They're back in camera range. It reminds me of when I was a kid and I wanted to learn all of the words to Super Bass. I knew my mother would not allow me to listen to Super Bass, and our computer was in the middle of the dining room, right? So I'd be listening to the karaoke version, reading the lyrics, and when my mom came in, I would open the other tab to Club Penguin so she didn't know what I was actually doing. It's basically the same thing. I'm basically Tony Stark. Eventually this army gets impatient, you know? It's been 24, maybe 48 hours, and they're like, where the fuck is this missile? Like, you guys are fucking with us. So they take homie Yinsen, and they get a hot coal and they're like, dude, I'm shoving this down your throat if you don't tell me what's going on. And Yinsen's like, we're making a missile, we're making a missile, we're making a missile. Then Tony's like, 24 hours. I need 24 more hours. You'll have your missiles and you can let us go. Let us go. They're like, you know what? Fine, whatever. And Tony's like, yeah, and I need homie too. Like, he stays. He's helping.
I need him. Good assistant.
They're like, okay, cool, let's do it. The boys get into grind mode, right? They're like, all right, we got to finish the suit. We got to get it ready. We got to get it powered up so we can get the fuck out of here. Like, that's the plan, right? So we're approaching the 24-hour mark. Again, the army gets impatient and we hear them running back towards the prison cell. Tony is in the suit, okay? They're waiting for it to power up, but they need more time to get the bar to 100% so he can go off and fucking boom, boom, pow. You know? I like that boom, boom, pow, them chicken. They already attached a bomb to the door, knowing that the army was going to run in and try to get them. Once they jiggle on the door, we hit a button. Boom. The few army men are done.
How'd that work?
Oh my goodness. You worked all right.
What I do?
Yinsen's freaking out. He's like, dude, they're all gonna start coming. We're gonna be dead, but we need more time. And Tony's like oddly chill in this scenario. He's like, yeah, no, we're gonna be fine. Like, we're gonna have time to worry about it. And Yinsen's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna give us some time. Homie grabs the gun and just starts shooting kind of everywhere. And I'm thinking to myself, why is he spraying the gun like a hose? You know, when you're a kid and you like put your thumb on the hose and you like spray it around and it goes crazy? He was doing that with the gun. I'm like, why are we not being slightly strategic with this gun? Yinsen gets caught, obviously, but he did make some more time for Tony to get in the suit and get functioning. So we see boom, boom, pow. Tony comes out, guns ablazing. He's knocking people down. Classic superhero movie. He makes it through to the end and he sees Yinsen and he's like, dude, get up. Like, you gotta see your family. Like, come on, this is the plan. And Yinsen's like, no, man. This was always the plan. My family is dead. I am going to see them now. Damn, okay, not Marvel getting me all emotional and shit. So, of course, Tony escapes. He's got some scratches on his back, but, you know, who wouldn't? Fast forward 3 months, back in the States. Hooray! He's like, guys, I need a press conference right now. And everyone's like, dude, you just landed. He's like, no, I need to call it right now. Also need a cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger first.
And I'm like, Tony really is just a girl. The Pepper hesitantly calls the press conference. He gets his cheeseburger. Then I see they have fucking Burger King, which, dude, if you're craving a burger, why are you gonna go to Burger King? I know it's in the name, but like, if we're talking who has the best burger, it's gotta be McDonald's. Obviously, we're not including Michelin star restaurants, but fast food burgers, McDonald's takes the cake every time. So it gets to be the press conference. We see the bald man, we see James, Pepper is there. She gets approached by this agent. She's like, oh yeah, we can set up a meeting. I'll take your card. He wants to talk about how Tony escaped. She's like, yeah, whatever, we'll deal with it later. He gets on stage and he's like, yeah, so you know how Stark Enterprise is all about like making bombs for the military and making missiles and killing people? Well, I'm not gonna do that anymore. And everybody's like, oh my god, what? He's like, yeah, dude, I've seen some things, I've met some people. This is not the life for me. I am not gonna make these killing machines anymore. Miss Humanitarian was there though, so I'm sure that she was like, oh, this had to do with me and our one night stand. I mean, I would too. Like, I'm delusional. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Liberal pussy changes you, okay? He tries to tell his close friends his new idea. You know, this thing that he's working on, how he escaped. And they're all like, Tony, dude, relax. Like, no, nobody wants to be a part of this thing. You're going to get yourself killed. Like, just keep doing what you've been doing, whatever. And Tony's like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck all of you. I'm going to continue to fuck bitches get money, you know? First thing that he does is switch his power source to make it a little stronger, a little better. Pepper comes down and helps. They have a cute little moment, of course, because they're showing love.
I don't have anyone but you.
Tony almost died in the process. Pepper was terrified, but eventually she's like, okay, I'm never doing that again, A. And B, what do you want me to do with this original power source? Tony's like, nah, I'm not a sentimental guy. Like, you can just toss it, whatever. I don't really care. Pepper leaves with the heart, and Tony gets to fucking work, okay? He's like, I'm gonna build the suit. You know, the one that got me out of there? I'm gonna make one, but I'm gonna make it 10 times better. So Tony's making a new suit. He's smacking himself into walls. He's hitting cars, having a great time. He flies up into space. He freezes. He almost dies, but of course he doesn't, because he's Tony Stark. Duh. So Tony takes a little break from flying around, okay? He's at home, he's chilling. But we hear that there's a banquet happening in his name. And the reporter is like,
We don't think that Tony Stark will be coming tonight.
so what do you think Tony Stark did? He showed the fuck up, obviously. But before he goes, we see this little package from Pepper. He opens up the package. It's his old heart magnet thing, whatever the fuck. And around it, it says, proof that Tony Stark has a heart. Aww. Love isn't dead, baby. Love isn't dead. So Tony's like, yeah, fuck this. I'm showing up. We're at this banquet. The bald man is getting interviewed, and we hear all of these screams and these girls say, oh my god! Because Tony is showing face. Pepper sees that he's here, and she's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, damn, you looking good, Pepper. Can I get that coochie scented candle for free? Of course, they have a cute little moment on the roof. She has this kind of pick me moment where it's like, no, I can't do this. Like, I can't be like the other girls. Like, I work for you. Tony's like, bitch, I don't care about the other girls. I care about you. And they go to kiss each other, but they do this really weird, like, teethy thing. They're leaning in to kiss and they're like, of course, they don't kiss though, because, you know, that's anticlimactic. And Tony's like, wait here. I'm gonna go get you a drink, okay? Pretty ladies don't need to get their own drink. I'm getting it for you. He goes downstairs, and of course, Miss Humanitarian Blondie stops him and is like, dude, do you see this? And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, the people that we're fighting against, look at the name on those missiles. And he sees Stark Enterprise, and he's like, oh, like, I didn't sign off on that. And she's like, yeah, well, maybe you didn't, but like, these people are like torturing families and kids. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, I never said that was okay. Turns out it was the bald man. Like I said, never trust a bald man. He signed off for this on Tony's behalf because all he wants is money, right? And Miss Humanitarian says, well, who's gonna save these children? Tony Stark says, bitch, I will. So of course he flies in, he boom booms the bad guys. He gets rid of the missiles because he's like, I am not allowing anybody to use these missiles anymore. He's like, I am not going to be responsible for families and children dying. Fucking ally. But when he sets these missiles off, it alerts the US. They're like, bitch, did you have clearance? No, bitch, I didn't have clearance. They send out these little jets to figure out what the fuck is going on and what is that little thing flying in the air. Nobody knows what he is yet, right? So as Tony's trying to fly back home and, like, you know, not get killed by these missiles, him and James have a fun little kiki call on the phone. He's like, hey girl, what's up? And James is like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, oh, you know, nothing much. And James is like, dude, are you behind this? And he's like, what? Oh my god, no. Because again, Tony Stark is that bitch. One of the planes run into Tony, the plane ends up going down, but of course, you know, Tony's not trying to kill anybody. So he grabs the pilot and hooks his parachute onto him so he doesn't die. Then he calls his homie back and he's like, yeah, by the way, that's me. I'm that dude. But at this time, the other little airplane is still trying to kill Tony. They're like, shoot to kill, shoot to kill, shoot to kill. And James is like, nah. Trust me, this was a training accident. This isn't what it looks like, okay? And then we find out, dun, 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 it was the bald man who hired the 10 rings to kidnap Tony and kill him. Whoa, that's crazy. A bald man being evil? I never would have seen that coming. So bald man is chatting with the 10 rings, right? He's on their turf. And they're like, look, this is the thing that Tony used to escape. They had gotten all of the pieces from his OG Iron Man costume, and they're like, here's the deal. We will give you this iron suit. We'll give it to you for free. You can take it, you can walk out, but find out how he made it, make multiple, and just, you know, give us some in return, okay? Which, hey, to me, sounds like a pretty fair deal. You get to see how he escapes, everybody gets the little Iron Man costumes, everyone's happy, right? No, bald man's not happy. Bald men are selfish. He goes, zap, paralyzes the dude. And he's like, yeah, you'll be stuck for 15 minutes. Sorry about that. Don't like your deal. I'm just going to take the suit and go. Like, I'm not giving you any of this. Like, this is all for me. Because again, bald men, selfish. So we cut to Pepper and Tony and they get in a little bit of a fight, okay? Pepper's like, what the fuck are you doing? And Tony's like, look, I'm not going to let people use these missiles. They're just killing everybody and nobody's winning. And Pepper's like, I'm not going to sit here and watch you kill yourself. So I quit.
Well, then I quit.
And Tony's like, nope, not having that. And he's like, you stuck by me all of these years when I was doing this horrible thing, when I was making money. And now when I want to do something good, you're going to walk away. Which, like, okay, deep cut. And she's like, you're all I have. I don't want to see you die. And Tony's like, well, I'm doing this either way. So, like, are you a part of it or not? Please don't leave. Of course she stays because they're in la 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 la. So Pepper heads to HQ. Okay, she goes into the big office. I assume it was Tony's office, but it's now the bald man's office. Whatever it may be. She just needs to get some files from the computer. Okay, she sticks her little thing in there. She ends up clicking on the ransom video of Tony, but of course it's not in English, so she hits the translate button, and that video basically incriminates the bald man. It's the 10 rings being like, hey, I didn't know the guy you wanted us to kill was the Tony Stark, like, what the fuck? And then Pepper's like, holy fuck, the bald man is the reason why Tony almost died. So she's anxiously waiting for all those files to load, right? It's going slow, as it does, gotta build some tension. Mr. Baldman walks in, and Pepper's like, oh fuck, puts her hand right in front of where it needs to be, so he doesn't see. Then he gets real creepy. Like, he be flirting, he's like, oh my god, like, Tony doesn't know how good he has it with you, like this, that, and that. Eventually it hits 100%. She takes the USB out and she closes out of the program so the bald man hopefully never sees what she just did. Right? Wrong. She ends up leaving the office fine. Like, she gets out, he doesn't know, but when he clicks on the computer, he sees file sent. So he's like, oh fuck, this bitch has the incriminating evidence that's gonna get me sent to prison. I cannot let that happen. So remember when Tony had the press conference saying he didn't want to do missiles anymore? Well, that guy who wanted to have the meeting, it happened to be that day. And he's like, oh, so like, are we gonna have this meeting? And Pepper's like, yep, come with me. Come on, we're gonna do our meeting right now, but we're not gonna do it here. You're gonna come with me. Come. And he's like, okay, bitch. She ends up calling some agents. She calls James. She's like, I'm freaking out. She tries to call Tony, but he doesn't answer. And why doesn't he answer? Well, the bald man was working on his his suit, right? His version of the suit is way bigger, it's stockier or whatever. And he has his scientists working on this power source, you know, the one that's in Tony's heart. And they're like, dude, it's impossible. We can't make it that tiny. He's like, well, bitch, Tony did it. And the scientist is like, well, I'm not Tony. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to do.
It's impossible. Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a bunch of scraps.
So Bald Man's like, all right, well, if you can't make it, I'm just gonna go take Tony's. He goes over to Tony's house. Beep. Paralyzed. Then he has this great villain. I love a villain monologue. Like, yes, girl, you defend your horrible actions by trauma dumping on someone. That's how we do it here. Basically, he's like, yeah, you suck. I do everything for this company and you get all the credit. I'ma take this. Rips his heart out and he's like, this is the greatest thing that you've ever done. This is your greatest invention. This is where you peak. Now I'm gonna take it and you're gonna die. Ha ha. He walks away. And again, this thing is Tony's heart, right? So he's like, oh fuck, oh shit, oh tits. He stumbles downstairs into his workstation and he's trying to grab the thing that Pepper made for him. You know, the proof that Tony Stark has a heart. It still has that OG power source in it. So he's like, okay, I can use this for now and I'm gonna go kill this bad guy. So Tony's reaching and he just can't quite get it and he falls over. But shout out AI, shout out RoboCop, because little homie, little arm guy gives our boy his heart. Suddenly, James walks in. He gets up and he's like, dude, I gotta get to the suit and I gotta destroy this man, okay? So we cut to Miss Pepper. She's with her agents. And I mean, we have no idea that the bald man has a suit of his own, right? Like, girl, you're gonna need a little more than 5 people. But she's skipping through like, this is where the bald man works. This is where he goes. And whoever her costumer was literally sucks. Like, why is Girly wearing 7-inch heels right now? Like, at least give her 3-inch, okay? And they're those like 2008 skinny heels, all right? Like the ones that you can grab and just snap. Yeah, I know that Gwyneth Paltrow was struggling in those. Either way, everyone's looking around. They're like, bald man, where are you? Pepper turns and suddenly lights. Personally, that scared the fuck out of me. I would have pissed my pants if I was her. Then bald man stands up in this humongous suit and he's like, bro, get out of my way. Bop, whacks the agents. Bop. So Pepper's running as quick as she can in those fucking heels. And perfect timing, because Tony shows up. Pepper's like, oh my god, Tony, be careful, be safe. Like, this is what's happening. And he's like, yeah, girl, I know. Like, I got that villain monologue. Like, I'm caught up, girl. He's like, go, stay safe. I'm gonna take him down. We're gonna be good. And then we're finally gonna kiss. He doesn't say that, but he wanted to say that. So Tony and Bald Man are in a fight, okay? Bald Man is just, like, picking people up and throwing them, like, in cars and shit for no reason. Like, he's just like, I'm gonna wreak havoc in this place. Start tussling around. He, like, kicks the shit out of Tony because his little heart thing, it's like, it's not doing that good. The reason Tony made another one is because he needed a better version of it because that one was on like 20% or something. I don't think it's like you need to plug it in and charge it, but I just don't think the energy source was that great. You don't need like a USB-C cord to charge that bitch. I think like once it's done, you know? But Tony is like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fly straight up into the sky because the first time that I did it when I was testing my suit, I froze and I didn't know that was gonna happen. So that's his plan to like destroy the bald man, right? So of course he freezes. Tony thinks he beats him. He doesn't beat him. Now they're on the roof. The girls are battling. Tony loses one of his fist things. He loses his helmet. Oh god, he's half an Iron Man at this point. He's an Iron Boy, okay? And he's like, look, I'm gonna get Bald Man on the roof and I'm gonna fly off the roof. And when I do, I will tell you when to hit the button, okay? You're gonna hit the red button. But of course, Tony's pretty fucked up and he's like, well, you gotta hit the red button. And she's like, well, you're not off the roof. And he's like, well, gotta hit the red button either way. God, what happened? Are they okay? Well, Tony is, obviously. He's getting prepped for another press conference. They're like, look, you're gonna say this. And Tony's like, I don't think anyone's gonna believe that was like my bodyguard or whatever you want to say. And they're like, dude, just go with it. And he's with Pepper and they're reading different articles and he sees, people are calling me Iron Man. Well, the suit isn't made of iron, but it has a great ring to it. So Tony goes out there. He has his little cards that he's supposed to read off of. But of course, bitch, it's Tony Stark. And he says,
I am Iron Man.
the girls go crazy. Movie ends. Period. Going into this movie, I had no idea what I was going to expect, but honestly, I really enjoyed it, and I wish that I had gotten into Marvel movies a little bit earlier. I like how it leaves us at the mystery of, ooh, what happened to the bald man? We saw him fall, but unless you see a bitch dead, you know they're not dead. So my prediction going forward is that Bald Man is back, and he's bigger than ever. He's better than ever. Maybe Tony's going to suit up one of his homies. Who knows? Maybe he'll suit up a bunch of his homies, and they'll all be like iron people, iron armies, saving families, one missile at a time. I don't know. Him and Pepper are going to end up together. together, of course. And again, I don't really know anything about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so I couldn't tell you what happens next. They end up on a team, though. The next movie in the series is Hulk. Literally couldn't tell you anything about the plot, but I know that he's big and he's green. He's a lean green muscle machine. Anyways, thank you guys so much for coming on this journey with me. It has been a blast. YouTube era, question mark? Is that what's happening? Who knows? I feel like I'm always like, oh my god, I'm entering a YouTube era, and then I just do a video and I stop. But I'm gonna try to not do that, because this is actually really fun watching a movie and talking about it. I probably spread a lot of misinformation. I'm basically Fox News, so anything that I said wrong, please correct me in the comments. But again, go easy on me, because A, I'm just a girl, and B, I'm literally talking out of my asshole. I have no idea what's going on. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys. And I do, maybe in a week, maybe in 2 days, who's to say? Also follow me on all other social media platforms. That's Molly R. Russo on Instagram and TikTok, as well as Twitter. I don't know why I said Twitter like that. I know it's called X, but I'm never calling it X. That feels like a naughty site. Okay, whatever. Now I'm just blabbling. All right, peace out. Bye.